Hi everyone, it's Nichol Spohr and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be creating some super cute cards with brand new My Favorite Things June 2022 release products using Patriotic colors and creating love and birthday themed cards with lots of new products from the release, pairing them with some of my favorite products from Simon Says Stamp to create the background. We're going to be creating our backgrounds first with the Simon Says Stamp Dimensional Stars embossing folder and layering stencils. So out of some cardstock, I went ahead and embossed two 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch panels of cardstock with the Dimensional Stars embossing folder so that the stars have a little bit of texture. You can definitely leave this step out if you want to. Then I'm going to take the layering stencils and using Marine, Royal, and Cherry Positively Saturated inks, I'm going to apply the ink through the stencils for a multicolored patriotic background. I really love that these products can be used with whatever colors you like. There, when I hold the panel up at an angle, you can definitely see the embossing. I'm going to do both panels at a time, kind of assembly line style, if you will, so that I can just move from one stencil to the next. I started with panels that are much larger than what I'm going to finish. Well, not much larger, a little larger than what I'm going to finish with. I always tend to like to start with a full-size panel and then trim it down a little bit later as needed. So I end up trimming these down to 4 by 5 1/4. You could definitely start with that if you want to. Like I said, sometimes I'm not exactly sure what direction my cards are going to go, and so I will start with something a little bit bigger. I love the multicolored stars, and we've kind of got a really pretty light blue, a royal blue, and then finally red. The new products from My Favorite Things from the June 2022 release that we're going to be using today include the Stitched Tall Rainbow, which I love doing something non-traditional with the rainbow. We're going to make a patriotic rainbow. We are going to be using the Grill Friend Stamps and Dies, which is the darling little girl with her grill. And then we're going to use You Make My Heart Go Boom, which is like a little boy dressed as Uncle Sam. And finally, we're going to use the Stars and Stripes 6x6 pattern paper. I love this pattern paper pad. You guys already know that I am a sucker for pattern paper, and especially patriotic pattern paper, and even more especially pattern paper that has designs that are either like small in scale or not so super busy that they're very easy to use. And this paper pad hits all of those for me. The colors are beautiful. I think they're so summery and fun, even if you're not creating a patriotic card, and really just a gorgeous pattern paper pad. Once I have my backgrounds all stenciled, these embossed backgrounds stenciled, I love how they look, but I still feel like they might be slightly overpowering. So what I thought would be really fun is to take a clear box, and I am actually going to spritz and splatter both of these backgrounds with water in a mini mister to kind of mute, dull, and fade around the edges these stars. Now I'm laying out the Stitched Tall Rainbow pieces right now, so you can kind of get an idea of how I planned this. I don't want two of the same color of pattern papers right next to each other. So you'll notice that we've kind of got some red stars, the navy and white stripe, the light blue and white stars, the red and white stripe, the navy polka dot with all the colors, and then the plaid. I definitely picked patterns that I felt like would really showcase the pattern paper even in this small area. Now, because the Stitched Tall Rainbow is a single die, you are going to end up with more rainbows than what we're actually using today, and I saved these so that I could use them again. I'm just tucking them in with my Stitched Tall Rainbow die so that I can use them for other cards. And it's kind of good as well because I messed up one of the rainbows and had to throw away one set. So that kind of was helpful too. Now I'm using water in a mini mister. You can use a distress sprayer or whatever you want to use here. I mentioned recently in another video I broke my distress sprayer, so I'm using my mini misters, but I kind of like the fine spray of the mini mister for this, and you can see that it doesn't move the ink a ton like it might distress ink, which is another fun idea for this technique, but it does dull and fade the edges, and I love it. I think I lay the two backgrounds side by side here in a minute so you can really see the difference. I'm using a clear box to spray everything, and so you can kind of see the other one through that. I love clear boxes because they're easy to clean, as opposed to a cardboard box. I'm going to dry this one really quick. This was my guinea pig. I was seeing if I liked the effect, and I definitely do. I think it fades the stars enough that they're really going to kind of just fade into the background, which is what I want here, but still add that decorative touch that I love. Now I am going to let my panels finish drying, air drying all the way. And because of that, and because of all of the water, they will be a little warped, and I'm going to use some nice strong adhesive. Here is a good look at how the one on the right hadn't been spritzed with water until now, and the one on the left is, just the difference in the color, and they're both going to end up being nice and faded. So I'm really going to saturate the paper. I'm going to let these completely dry, and then I'm going to splatter my backgrounds with white gouache to add even more fun interest to these backgrounds. So they are just a little bit more distressed. Lots of easy distressing going on here. And I'm just going to splatter all of these little white speckles all over. Then, while my backgrounds are drying, we are going to stamp the images from Girlfriend and You Make My Heart Go Boom on smooth white cardstock using Hero Arts intensified black ink, and then we are going to color these in with Copic markers. As always, I list the Copic markers I'm using to color in my images down in the description below, as well as over on my blog. I'm going to color in the little boy dressed as Uncle Sam first. I'm using E13 and 11 for the skin with a little R30. And then for his outfit, I really wanted to go with the patriotic red, white, and blue theme. I'm going to use red markers to draw stripes onto his pants as well as the top of his top hat, leaving the white in his pants. I did do a little base of warm gray 00 at the top of his hat to just give a little bit of color. I will add even more with warm gray 3 in a little bit, but you can see I'm just kind of drawing imperfect stripes in his pants to get that fun texture. Another idea, which you'll see me do with the girl's dress, is you can color the entire thing in with your red markers and take a white pen and add in the white stripe detail. So there's lots of ways to achieve that similar look. I'm just going to do two different ones here. Then I'm going to take some blue markers and do the band on his hat as well as his little jacket there, his tuxedo jacket. I'm using some blue markers. I do end up getting even another deeper, darker blue to darken some of the areas. So this card is going to feature the boy as Uncle Sam and the flag. There's also a parrot and a firework in this stamp set. I'm not going to use those on the card, but they're very cute as well. I also think he would be really cute like as what is it called? Like, is it the ringleader for a circus? It's escaping me at the moment, but I think that if you colored him differently, like you could even color him to, you know, work like that. So then the brim of his hat is red. You can really see the details starting to come the more color we get added here. I think he's just darling. Little warm gray to just add some shading to the white areas of his pants and hat. some cool grays for his shoes. I also used the warm grays for his shirt that's peeking out and the shirt cuffs. We're going to do his hair with E55 and 57. I had to fix where I got some of the hair. I even went back in with E59 and added a little bit deeper or darker. For the flag, I did kind of do the same thing I did for the pants and the top hat. I wanted it to look like an American flag. And so I drew in some red stripes, and then I did a little blue rectangle. And then the stick that it's on, E55 and E57. I'm going to take my white pen now, and I'm just going to kind of fix the stripes. I'm going to do like some little star-ish looking things on the band on his hat. Fix a couple small places in the pants and the hat that I felt like maybe I got a little too much red with my white pen. Then we're going to move on to the girl. I wanted to do the same thing, and so you'll notice that I do, but I am actually going to color over the whole thing and then just go in and do some white stripes. I don't think they end up being quite as white as the original coloring, but for the boy, but I think that it works out. I really just wanted to show kind of my thought process and leave in the fact that it didn't completely work. So her dress is blue, but her apron is going to be red and white striped. Generally, when I do want to add white elements to a colored image, I will use the Signo Uniball white gel pen, but today I was trying not to use that, and I didn't use it for the boy. But I kind of went back to that for this image. I didn't like the stripes. You can see that here. I just didn't feel like they were working the way I wanted them to. I hope that makes sense. Now you can see kind of the bow at the back of her apron sticking out on either side of her and the bowstring. So that's what I'm coloring in red. Same colors used for both images. I think the only other color I grabbed is a yellow red for the cheese on the hamburgers. Otherwise, everything in this card is the same colors as the boy, or everything for this image, pardon me, is the same colors as the boy. So here I'm going to color over the entire dress. I wasn't happy with it. I even kind of like it with the red on red stripe. I think that's a lot cuter too. So I'm just going to kind of shade, blend, do all the things, fix her dress. We're going to go ahead and go on to her hair. I'm going to do a nice base of E55 before moving on to E57 and E59. I really liked coloring in her hair. Thought it was really cute. I love these images from My Favorite Things. I think they're so super sweet. I loved the girl. I will link to that card at the end of this one. I did a Father's Day card for my dad with one of last month's images. And she is the same theme, which I think is fun. Little R30 for her cheeks. And then I am going to go in with my white pen and we are going to add some stripes. You could do polka dots or plaid. There's so many things you can do here. And then where I maybe touched a black line from the stamped image, I did take a black pen and just kind of draw that back in. For her shoes, I didn't want them to completely be black, so we're going to go with our reds. This is our 24, 46, and 39. I will do the soles in the cool grays, but I liked the little red shoes with the straps going up the ankles. I think they're a lot showier that way. Some little highlights on the toes of the shoes for both images. Her spatula is going to be the cool grays that we just used for shoes. And then our grill is going to also be red and gray. So we're going to go back with cool grays. Again, I used all colors that I already had out. And we're just going to add in the cool grays, the red for the outside of the grill, some E55 and 57 for the hamburgers when we get there. There are coordinating dies for all of these images, which I love. including the fireworks. So if you want to add some fireworks to either of the cards, I think that would be cute. And there's lots of different sentiments. For such small stamp sets, there's lots of sentiments. For the girl, a friend like you is rare. Well done. I flippin' love you. You're the barbecue coolest. And then I'm using Hey Girlfriend, have a smokin' birthday. And then for the boy, you're the friend that makes me feel brave. I love your spirit and you make my heart go boom, which is what I'm using. I'm going to stamp these on some Lawn Fawn Blue Jay cardstock. I thought this Blue Jay cardstock matched the dark blue of the My Favorite Things paper perfectly. I prepped it with the Rabbit Hole Designs powder tool first. I'm stamping with Hero Arts Embossing and Watermark ink. And I'll sprinkle on white embossing powder and heat emboss these before die cutting with Simon Says Stamp Sentiment Labels dies. You could also use a paper trimmer if you wanted to. Now, because I used the powder tool first, which definitely helps keep that embossing powder only on the stamped sentiment, we need to buff away that remaining powder so that our cardstock doesn't have that chalkboard type look. Once the embossing is completely clean, I do take a microfiber cloth and remove that excess powder. I'm going to line up my sentiment labels dies and then run these through my die cutting machine. So I always die cut one direction. So I line it up with one side of the sentiment and run it through. Then I take out the strip, line it up with the other direction and run it through again. We're going to do this for all three sentiments since I used two phrases for the girl card and then just the one for the little boy Uncle Sam card. I think these are so cute and punny, which is really fun. Then we are going to go ahead and put it all together. I did die cut my images off camera. I've got my card base, I've got my backgrounds, which I've trimmed down to 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm going to prep by putting really strong adhesive all over my card base, but I'm also going to put adhesive, which I don't normally do, on the panel that I'm adding to my card. And that's just because it warped a little bit with the water. You can see how the edges are curled up. I definitely don't want that for my finished card. So I'm just making sure that all of the edges have adhesive on them. I love these backgrounds. I like that little softer, duller look that we get with the water over the stenciling. Then I'm going to put foam adhesive on the back of my sentiment strip. However, I really should have waited to do that because I do need to apply the rainbow first. And we're going to do something really fun with the rainbow. Instead of adhering all of the different layers of the rainbow with foam adhesive or adhering all of the different layers with just liquid glue or whatever the case may be and having it be flat, we're actually going to go every other one on our rainbow rays. So some of the rays are going, or the arcs are going to be adhered with foam adhesive. Some are going to be glued directly to the background. I'm going to carefully pull up my sentiment strip. I wanted to show you how, I wanted to kind of leave in all of my mistakes today. And I'm going to lay out all of my different rainbow pieces. And then the best tip I have for this is some thin some thin foam adhesive strips. The waffle flower ones are perfect for this. They're super sticky though. So I'm using some really sharp tweezers or a tool-in-one to peel off the backing. What you want to do to make that foam adhesive really flexible is remove the backing from both sides. Then, as you can see here, you can bend it around any curved shape. This is fantastic for shakers or anything that you want to adhere that isn't a straight edge. I'm going to have to piece together a couple of pieces for this one. And definitely don't hurry this step. The first one went together really easy. The second one I messed up and is the one I actually had to pull off. I was able to save my background very carefully. It did tear a couple places, but it was where the rainbow went, and so I was able to disguise it. However, I do recommend just kind of taking your time and making sure those ends are straight. So I'm just not pressing it down really hard yet. I want to make sure that I get this where it goes. This was a little tricky, simply because I wasn't lining it up with the bottom of the panel. If I'd lined it up with the bottom of the panel, it might have been a little bit easier, but I didn't like that placement quite as well. Okay, there is the first one, and then we'll simply glue down the next one. So the next layer is going to be applied with liquid glue, the next one with foam, so on and so forth. This does take a little bit of time, but I really love the effect. In real life, you get that great kind of high-low effect of each of these different rainbow rays. I really wanted to do something different with the rainbow rather than a traditional colored rainbow, and so it was super fun to play with pattern paper as well as do something in a non-traditional color palette. For the third layer of our rainbow, we're again going to take another piece of the foam adhesive. We're going to remove the backing paper from it, gently bend it around the shape. I did have to use a little piece of that leftover foam from the first layer, and then we're just going to fit that right in. I left the assembly of one of these completely in the video just to kind of show you my process for this, but the other one I will do off camera, which was a good thing since it's the one I messed up. Then a little liquid adhesive on the fourth, and then we only have 2 more left. By fading out the background, it really does help showcase the pattern paper and then the cute image a lot more. Otherwise, the background was a little too bold. We'll take one more piece of foam here and peel off that backing paper. And this is a little bit tighter curve. Each smaller layer, the curve gets a little bit tighter, but you can see how easily it wraps around when you remove the backing off of your foam adhesive strip. And then for our 6th and final, we'll just glue that straight down. Then I'm going to kind of change up the foam adhesive on the back of my sentiment strip so that it slightly overlaps my rainbow. And in order to do this, I need to not have any foam adhesive under where it overlaps each side of the rainbow. So along the bottom edge, I applied the foam adhesive, and then I put a couple of foam adhesive squares in the center. And that's going to help it be nice and flush. Then we're going to glue our little boy in place and put some foam adhesive underneath the flag so it looks like he's holding it in his hand. I'm going to set this aside for a second and go ahead and put together the second card. So for this one, I have 2 sentiment strips. We're going to put foam adhesive under the one on the bottom, and then on the one on the top, or a foam adhesive strip, pardon me. On the one on the top, I'll just put a couple of those foam adhesive squares in the center, and on the ends, I'll put liquid adhesive where it overlaps the rainbow. I think this is so cute and fun for a friendship themed birthday card. We'll stack these. We'll adhere the girl and the barbecue grill. Now, anywhere that the girl or the grill overlaps the rainbow, I don't want to have foam adhesive. So I kind of played around with placement, and then I did have to remove foam adhesive from the back of the image, and I left that part of that in here as well, just to kind of show you when things don't go exactly as planned. And I want the grill to be in front of her dress. So I needed really only one foam adhesive square in the center of the grill. I did put some little thin leftover strips on the grill legs so it lays nice. I'm using a combination of the waffle flower foam adhesive and the scrapbook adhesives foam adhesive strip or foam adhesive squares. So for this, I need to not have foam adhesive where it overlaps her dress. So I'm just going to move that foam adhesive square underneath her dress. And the other one, there's foam adhesive where it overlaps the rainbow. So I need to scoot that over a little bit. I think I actually just grabbed a new foam adhesive square and put it right in the center, and that worked much better. There we go. Now to finish my cards, I am going to take some little silver star confetti and scatter it all over the cards. I think the stars really match the theme much better than hearts would. I always love finishing, pretty much almost always, with some small embellishments, and today I chose to do the stars instead. This adds a nice little bit of sparkle, added embellishment, and I'm going to do this for both cards. I'm adding little dabs of glue, using an embellishment wand, and picking up the silver star mini star confetti and adding it all over my card design. Now to finish, I decided to stamp a couple of Simon Says Stamp Schoolhouse Red envelopes with images from my cards. Very simple, but it adds such a cute finishing touch, and it definitely is a fun way to showcase the card that is inside the envelope. So for the Girlfriend card, in the lower left corner of the envelope, I'm going to stamp my image with the Royal Simon Says Stamp Positively Saturated ink. And then I'm going to take, for my second card, or envelope, I'm going to take the little boy image and I'm going to stamp him and the flag. I decided to just replicate the boy holding the flag, and then I'm going to take the fireworks from this set and stamp them up above. And I like that so much that I felt like the little girl needed something as well, and we're going to add those to her card. I didn't add the grill card envelope. Oh my goodness, you guys. I decided not to add the grill to her card envelope. Oh my gosh. Just to save room so there's plenty of space to write the address. But I do like these little fireworks, and I'm going to stamp a couple of them off the edge like that. Oh, so cute. I love it. So I'm just going to go ahead and take my second envelope and do that. You'll also notice I used acrylic blocks. I didn't even get my Misty out to do this, and it worked perfectly. And there is my matching Patriotic colored cards with matching envelopes. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for these 2 cards featuring brand new products from the My Favorite Things June 2022 release. The supplies I used are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to my Patreon members. If you would like to become a member of Patreon, please click the link in the description below. Here is another video featuring My Favorite Things products that you might be interested in. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel, hit that like button, and don't forget to click the notification bell to always be notified when I have a new card making video. Thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll see you next time.